Good afternoon, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone who's joined us today via Oz Arab Media's live stream and to those who are tuning in via Oz Arab Radio. I'm Joseph Najjar, and we're joined today by one of the directors of dance work, Sheridan Mouawad. She is also a singer, and she has joined us today to discuss her artistic career. Ms. Mouawad, thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. So as mentioned, you are also a singer. You performed recently at Oz Arab Media's first annual gala.
Mhm.
My first question is, besides that gala, what has been your favorite event to perform at, either as a singer or a dancer?
So more so than an event, I obviously grew up as a performer, theatre performer. So I'm a Broadway girl. I love to do musicals. But one of my favorite, obviously, my pinnacle of my career was being a lead on Broadway. That was pretty exciting. I was able to bring the first Cirque du Soleil's first Broadway show to the Lyric Theatre in New York City on 42nd Street. What's pretty cool about that is that I got to be part of the creation of the show. So we work for about 3 to 4 months prior to putting the show on stage. And when you're part of an original company, you get to have you get to be on all the footage that gets played around. On media, you get to be on the original Broadway cast recording. So if you look up on uh, with any show, you'll have like the songs that are part of the show, and that's on like YouTube or iTunes or whatever. You get to be a part of the original company to be on those vocal recordings. There are a lot of perks and stuff to that. So that was pretty exciting. But I would have to say the most what's it called? The the most satisfying was when I was Princess Jasmine in the Aladdin musical at California Adventure in Disneyland. That it's crazy because like you're a princess, right? You're a Disney
Yeah.
princess, and kids of all ages are just coming there because especially like when I think about it, there are a lot of people in America that go to Disneyland because it's so accessible to them. But to go to Disneyland from Australia, it's like a massive expense, and people have to save up all this money to take a family, you know what I mean, all the way over there, and then to pay tickets and stuff like that. So it's not something that's easy accessible to us. And when you go there and you see kids, and with my mindset of like understanding that, like I never went to Disneyland growing up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when I went there and I would be performing on stage, there's a part where obviously in A Whole New World where Jasmine and Aladdin like fly on the carpet, and we fly
Yeah.
from 4 stories high, and we get on this carpet and we're obviously harnessed in, and we go down into the audience and we fly through the audience. It's just the most amazing feeling when you capture one of the kids' eyes in the audience, like they're waving at the princess and the prince, but once that you actually see them see you, and then they're waving and they just start waving frantically, like even more, and
I get it.
you know that you've caught their heart and their attention, and it's the most fulfilling feeling because it's like you know that you've made that kid's day, or even that kid's year, or who knows how long, like they'll remember that forever, you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
massive inspiration to them. And so I feel like for me, even though there are parts like, for instance, being on Broadway was rewarding for me in my career perspective, being able to do a performance in a show and know that it's actually being passed, that feeling is being passed on to somebody else, and seeing them enjoying what you know what I mean, what I'm providing to them, is also something that's super rewarding. So yeah, 2 different
That's
ways. I don't know, it's so hard. Every performance is so different, you know.
well, that is really sweet, and I guess there's a reason why Disney World is called the happiest place on earth. So there
I
you
swear it
go.
is. I swear it is. It's actually so much fun. You see, everyone's just there to have a good time. You know what I mean? It's rarely do you ever go to theme like that, like theme parks and stuff like that. That people are going there not with the intention of having a good time, and when everyone's energy is like at like 120, you know what I mean, or
Yeah,
150, people are just you're always having a good time. You know.
I get it. How long did you live in the US for?
I lived in the US for about 10 years.
All right. So you just moved back to Australia recently?
I moved back to Australia during COVID because obviously
Uh,
everything down. It's crazy because our industry, obviously, we're in theaters indoors and 2,000-seat theaters. We're one of the first industries that had to close during COVID because there was just no way we could contain that many people in one location.
Yeah. I can only imagine how difficult the COVID years were for you as a performer. What was it like trying to find employment during that period?
It's crazy, like when I came back to Australia, I wasn't thinking I was going to leave America forever. Didn't have the intentions of like leaving and coming back here. So when I came to Australia, when I'm contracted in America, my contracts only allow me to have 2 weeks of vacation in that whole year. And those 2 weeks can't be taken off consecutively. They have to be taken off a week and a week. And for me, being Australian and living in America, having to take off only a week of vacation to come back home is just it's never enough time.
I
You know what I
understand
mean?
that. Yeah,
So
yeah,
so when COVID came and they brought us up on stage and they told us, the show's going to be down for 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Just because no one knew how long it was going to be extended for. So when it shut down for 2 weeks, I was like, 2 weeks, like I got to jump on this. Like I'm never going to get 2 weeks to go home this amount of time. So I jumped at the opportunity. I booked my ticket literally like 3 hours later. Within 6 hours, I was at the airport and I was flying home. And when I came home, I obviously had all my belongings in America. I had a lease, I had furniture, I had my like 10 suitcases of clothes. Like I had my whole life there, you know what I mean? And when I came here, like 2 weeks into a month into whatever, and I don't know if you know, but America shut down before Australia shut down. So
okay.
when I came back here, it was jarring because my whole life flipped upside down when I would wake up at home and everyone's going about their day like normal. So it was definitely that was definitely a point in my life where I felt like I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to, push through and like, what do I do? You know what I mean? Which actually is when I finally realized that I wasn't going back to America, I was thinking, what am I going to do to create financial stability for myself or something that's going to keep me consistent? Because also my age, I'm planning on wanting to settle down and wanting to have a family and all those kinds of things. And I can't just pick up and leave and, travel the world like I used to in my 20s, you know what I mean? So it's like I enjoy that part of my life, but I also need to find what's fitting for this new chapter in my life. And that's how DanceWorks came about. DanceWorks, my brother had opened this company for an academy, and he was also running dance classes in childcares. And when I came back, he was like, you're not working and stuff. Like, do you want to? And my work hadn't even opened up in America either. So when I was here, he was like, can you just help me out with my business, this, that? And I was like, okay, sweet. I'll help you out. And so I was going off into childcares and I was teaching for him and his company. And then after a while, I started to get this, like, it's so crazy because I was never a teacher. I was always the performer. You know what I mean? I never intended to like go into the role of teaching just yet. At least it was just never something that came to me. And it's something that kind of fell in my lap, and I grew a respect and an appreciation for it along the way. Also, I had this passion for children that I never had before. And maybe it was my maternal instinct, I don't know. But I loved it. And I started to understand, and anything that I start to do, I start to read up vigorously about. Like I need to know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I started to research about the Early Years Learning Framework, the National Quality Framework, the development of children between the ages of 0 and 6, and how to better benefit them in that kind of way. And then I started to create this program. And I was like, you know what? There's something here. There's something that we can really do, that I can really do to this business to expand it or make it grow in a positive way. And it can benefit children. You know what I mean? Through with my expertise. And so I wrote up these programs. I wrote up we have five programs now, but at the time there was four programs, and I split it between creative arts and sports. So we have dance and music, which is the creative arts programs, and we also have the fitness and gymnastics, which is the sporting programs. And when I wrote those programs, and I had a meeting with my brother, and I was like, I'd like to buy in. I'd like to buy into the company, and I'd like to go 50-50 with you. And this is what I have to offer. And so we discussed it, and that's how we joined as a team. And it's almost like full circle, because my brother and I, we used to dance together as partners. We used to do duos together all over Sydney. Growing up, me and my brother Roger, we spent most of our time together as siblings. People used to think we're twins, but we're not. Yeah, we just work together all the time. And so it's almost poetic and full circle that, I left and then I've come back, and now instead of being partners when we're kids in dancing, now we're partners in business in dancing. You know what I mean? And so there's that trust factor, and there's that like reliability, and it's just great. It's just great. It's a great new chapter that I didn't see myself going into, but it's like, yeah, it's almost like this is what God wanted in a way. You know what I mean? When things just happen the way they're supposed to happen. And at that time, during COVID, I thought everything was just falling out of place. Like everything's just like nothing is what it used to be. Like like I was having a very hard time not knowing what I'm going to do, where I'm going to go with life. Like, you know what I mean? Everything's just halted. Like everything I knew, all my friends, all my belongings I had to get on. It took me 3 months to get my stuff from America. I didn't have any clothes here. I was like, rotating 5 tracksuits, because we couldn't even go to the mall to even shop. You know what I mean? Like I went to like the mall, and I went and got like 5 different tracksuits, and I was just like rotating them until my clothes came from America. And then I sold all my furniture from my computer here in Sydney.
Really?
Yeah, like I had to do everything like remotely, because it's like, what am I going to do?
I hope you got a good deal on them.
I did. I was able to get rid of everything, which is easier for me, because if I was getting out of my lease, having rubbish left in the apartment, it was probably harder to. Was more expensive than me just like finding a way to actually get some kind of income from selling my property. Selling my belongings, and everything was brand new because I had just moved to California for a year and a half, so everything was still basically brand new. But yeah, it was a tough time, but I had no idea that this new chat, even though at that time I felt like everything was falling out of place, it really was everything was falling into place for this new chapter for me to, you know what I mean, go on this new journey. It was awesome.
Obviously, as your career as a performer, I don't know if you've had periods where you didn't think you would succeed or not, but would you say that the COVID years were probably, did they ever make you think, okay, maybe my time in the arts is coming to an end, COVID has just killed it?
Yeah, that's basically it's basically the story that I just said. Like, I still have yet to perform in a musical. Like my whole life, I've been professionally performing since I was 18 consistently. I have not stopped. This is the first, since COVID was the first time I'm going on to now 3 years of not being in a show, like in a musical show. And I started to think like, is this the end? Like, am I ever going to get into a show? But it's crazy because I remember when I was younger, I used to be so grateful that like whatever came my way, I'll just take it. You know what I mean? It was just offered me, I'll just take it. But for the first time, I'm starting to choose what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So even though opportunities come my way, right, a show's offered to me, but you have to go to America for 5 months. Yeah. That doesn't fit in my lifestyle anymore. You know what I mean? So as much as I would love to go and take that, I'm in this like very confident, secure place in my life where I'm like, thank you, but no thank you. Like it doesn't fit within my lifestyle or what it is that what I'm trying to achieve in my career. You know what I mean? Almost feeling like a slave to the job. You know what I mean? For the first time ever since COVID, even though it brought me down to feel like, oh my God, like what's going on in my life? Am I ever going to perform again? What's going to happen? It almost changed my mindset to be like, no, instead of you working for somebody else, you are finding your way for work to work for you. Do you know what I mean? Making things work for you in your life. So you're not sacrificing everything for that. You know what I mean? And I used to do that a lot of the time, which is why I was so fearless to just go off and go and travel and this and that. You know what I mean? But it's so different now. Like my brothers have kids. Like I don't want to be that auntie that's never there. You know what I mean? Like they call you up on the phone and they don't know who you are. Like I don't want that. And it's just it's one of those things where that's the choice that I want in my life. You know what I mean? And I'm willing to. It's different, those sacrifices.
I understand.
Yeah.
I was gonna also ask, what did you consider? Hello, Panda. How are you? So, to those who don't know, this is Sheridan's new dog, Panda. She just got it for her recent birthday. He is adorable, if I might add.
He's a cavoodle. He's a toy cavoodle.
He's a toy cavoodle. That is, you mentioned early on the phone, that's a mix between
A cavalier and a poodle.
Well, there you go. I don't know much about mixed breeding dogs. I just love golden retrievers and German shepherds. They're the ones I know best.
Yes. Australian shepherds are beautiful. I was also considering wanting to get that.
Fair play. Well, it is beautiful, and if I can get a copy of that, please let me know where. But I was also going to ask, did you ever have like a backup, like something you could fall back onto besides something in the arts, like dancing or singing or teaching? Maybe a different trade altogether?
A different trade altogether. Well, I've always not really. I feel like a lot of people get stuck in the fact that like performing arts is just one thing that you can do. So like if I'm a singer, dancer, actress, all I can do is singing, dancing, and acting. You know what I mean? Performing. There are so many facets in our industry that we can find different ways to utilize our strengths and what we do in our career. And not just teaching. You know what I mean? There are so many other things, like you can talk, you can do inspirational talk, you can be an inspirational talker, help people within the industry. You know what I mean? I like the fact of like even part of like helping the arts inside. How can I say it? For instance, right?
Yeah.
If I have a dance studio, your kids come to me, to my academy, to learn how to dance, right? They don't necessarily need to be professional dancers or wanting to be professional dancers. Having an academy or a dance studio, kids are coming to learn so many other great qualities in that. So you could learn, having another environment of children to participate with, like for kids to be around another group of children. You're learning confidence, stamina, persistence, dedication, working on yourself, healthy competition. You know what I mean? Like there are so many great qualities learning and growing as a great person with these great skills, that is not just, oh, I don't want my kid to go to dancing, or I don't, it's like, it's not just about your kid going to dance. You know what I mean? There are so many great qualities of bringing your child into that environment that they can be great people and grow into great people. They don't need to grow up to be a ballerina, like a prima ballerina, or have to be in a show or have to go do anything. You know what I mean? It's just a great way to harness their energy into something creative. And that's a great thing to do. Same thing with sports. You know what I mean? To go back to like, did I want anything in, did I have another backup plan? I didn't really have a backup plan. I feel like I knew what I was blessed with from God. Like if God gave me this talent or God gave me this gift or whatever it is, I have to harness it and grow it to be the best that it can be, and that will always service me. As long as I'm always putting energy into the gift from God, that's what's going to come tenfold over. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I never really considered doing anything that I wasn't passionate about. Always have to have that feeling of passion. Otherwise, you're just working like a 9 to 5 job or something like that. And it's just not something that I feel as though will make me happy. You know what I mean? If I was to go into something completely separate, I'd probably work for my family in the office.
What kind of
And
office does your family run? They're
they're
in painting?
they're a painting and building company, so completely different. Which is
Is
great.
it,
Like I'm so blessed to have Middle Eastern parents that were able to support my brother and I in the creative arts industry and actually see us through with a professional career in it. You know what I mean? It's not something that we just do on the side. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, this is our full-time job. And they supported us. And now my dad also was not born and raised in Australia. You know what I mean? Like he's an immigrant himself. So I was very, very blessed to have such open-minded parents, you know, that were supportive and trusting. You know,
well, God bless them. That's very inspiring,
mm.
Miss Mawad.
They're my like inspiration role models. You know what I mean? They're
They
great.
sound incredible. So we've talked about your career extensively. I wanted to ask, is there maybe one or two people throughout your life you've seen as perhaps the biggest inspirations, the ones that have kept you going through difficult times? It could be either personal or professional.
Yeah. So literally, my parents. My
Yeah.
parents have been my biggest cheerleaders, my supporting me along the way. They were able to recognize my talent before I was able to recognize my talent, and they were able to harness that and really focus, send me to the right places to get the best training. You know, my parents were like, if you're going to do something, they don't, it's not like they're going to force me to go, we want you to be a doctor or we want you to be a lawyer. We want you to do what you love to do. And when you figure that out, or we see something positive, something about that within you, we are going to make sure that we get you do it the best that you can do. You know what I mean? Like if you're going to do something, do it the best. You know, and that doesn't mean like walk all over people and stuff like that. It's just like if you're going to put your mind to something, make sure that you're doing it, you're seeing it through. You know what I mean? We're not going to half-ass it. We're not going to do those kinds of things. You know what I mean? We're going to make sure that we're going to get you the best training. We're going to make sure that also, like, there are times when I was a kid that I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm tired or whatever. And it's not that my parents are forcing me to do something. They were able to be that backbone to support me to see it through. You know what I mean? As a person, they didn't, as parents, they didn't let me not succeed. You know what I mean? That's not just being successful in like money or winning. That means not building me up as a person to be a quitter. You know what I mean? Not letting me think that it's okay to just, you know, just not go today or not do it today or just, you know, just it's okay, you can switch up to something else or whatever. It's like that's not something my parents instilled in me. So they're amazing inspirations and role models to me. Also, my mom, she's got her builder's license. I think she was one of the first like women in Western Sydney to get her builder's license. You know what I mean? Like she's a
A
boss.
visionary.
She's a boss and she runs our entire office. And I grew up with a mum that wasn't just a stay-at-home mum. Not that that's wrong. That's anything wrong with that, but it was great to see a mum that was like at home, cooking, cleaning, doing all the things that a mother does, but also seeing her run our entire business and you know in the office and taking care of those kinds of things, and also having a father role model that goes out and comes home, hard worker. My dad is like what in his 60s and he's still going out at 5 a.m. in the morning, going and coming back at home, and I see him working. Like they're amazing role models, and to be doing something completely outside of the arts. No one in our family ever was a creative arts person. I don't have any grandparents or any ancestors that were ever singers or dancers or actors or anything. So we're literally it was like random that we decided to get into this. But I was so blessed to have parents that were willing to really think about what's best for us rather than what's best for them, you know. And I think that's, to me as an adult now, looking back at that, is such, it's amazing, you know what I mean? There's not, I can't complain. I was very lucky.
God bless them, they sound incredible. And to conclude, so as mentioned at the beginning, you still perform at events. For example, you sang at Oz Arab Media's first annual gala last month. Thank you for that, by the way, as well.
That was so much fun.
Do you have any future events you're going to be performing in?
Nothing that is scheduled currently, but I am working on a couple of projects. One that I went over to America for, currently not able to really discuss it, but I'm very, very, very excited about what's to come. And I'll definitely keep you guys posted. Anything that comes up and stuff, I'll make sure to let you guys know.
I was going to say, please do me a favor and let me know, because I'll do anything to hear your voice live again. And
You know what I'm thinking when you said, is there something you'd like to fall back on, a career or something that you know what to do? I want to be the owner of like a like a show dog or something. Just go start training it and go around. If I'm not going to be the performer, my little puppy panda is going to be a performer.
Can I get in on some of that?
Yes.
All right. First off, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to listen to this interview with the incredible Miss Mouawad. Miss Mouawad, on behalf of Oz Arab Media, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us today, and we wish you the best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. Take care.
Bye.